Alex Chen had seen countless broken machines in his 15 years as a deep space technician, but he'd never seen one quite like this. The distress beacon had pulled his repair vessel, the Wanderer, out of routine patrol 3 days ago. Standard protocol dictated he investigate any SOS within a parsec of his route. What wasn't standard was the origin point, a massive biomechanical structure orbiting a rogue planet in uncharted space, pulsing with energy signatures that defied every known classification system. "This is Repair Vessel Wanderer responding to distress call," Alex transmitted as he approached the structure. "Please identify yourself and state the nature of your emergency." The response came not in words but in a direct neural interface request, an outdated technology humans had abandoned decades ago due to security concerns. Alex hesitated, his finger hovering over the accept button. Every regulation screamed at him to refuse, but the distress signal was genuine and someone or something needed help. He accepted. Images flooded his mind. A dying quantum resonator, the heart of a civilization suspended in crisis, millions of lives hanging in the balance. And then, a face, humanoid but distinctly alien, with luminescent silver skin and eyes like violet nebulae. "Please," a voice whispered directly into his consciousness. "You are the only one within range who possesses the skills we require." Alex found himself guided into a docking bay that reshaped itself around his vessel like living metal. When he emerged in his environmental suit, he discovered the atmosphere was breathable, specifically calibrated to human requirements. Someone had done their homework. The corridor beyond shifted and flowed, leading him deeper into the structure. Bioluminescent veins pulsed in the walls, carrying what looked like liquid light. The architecture was impossibly elegant, a fusion of organic curves and geometric precision that suggested a civilization far beyond Earth's technological sophistication. He found her in the central chamber. Queen Lisa of the Velshara stood before a massive spherical device suspended in a web of energy fields. She was taller than Alex by half a meter, her silver skin catching the ambient light like mercury. Intricate patterns glowed beneath her skin, a neural network visible through translucent flesh. Her violet eyes fixed on him with an intensity that made him feel simultaneously exposed and seen in a way he'd never experienced. "You came," she said, her voice resonating in both his ears and his mind. "I had calculated only a 17% probability of success." "The distress call was pretty convincing," Alex replied, trying to keep his voice steady. "What's the situation?" Lisa gestured to the sphere. "This is the resonator, the quantum heart of our civilization. We exist in a state between dimensions, anchored to this reality by the resonator's frequency. 3 cycles ago, it began to destabilize. Our own engineers lack the intuitive understanding of mechanical systems that your species possesses." Alex approached the device, pulling out his scanner. The readings were extraordinary. The resonator was essentially a quantum computer maintaining the coherence of an entire pocket dimension, housing what Lisa explained were 12 billion Velshara in a compressed spatial fold. And it was degrading, losing coherence at an exponential rate. "You've got maybe 18 hours before catastrophic failure," Alex said, his mind already racing through possibilities. "The quantum field generators are out of phase. See here." He pointed to a section of the sphere where the energy flow stuttered. "Something's disrupted the harmonic balance." "Can you repair it?" Lisa asked, and for the first time Alex heard genuine fear in her voice. "I can try." For the next 12 hours, Alex worked with an intensity he'd never known. Lisa stayed beside him, her people's entire existence resting on his shoulders. She explained the technology in ways that bridged the gap between their civilization's understanding. Her people thought in quantum probabilities and dimensional mathematics, while Alex thought in mechanical cause and effect. Together, they found a middle ground. As he worked, they talked. Lisa told him of the Velshara, a species that had transcended physical limitation by encoding their consciousness into a quantum state, existing simultaneously across multiple dimensional layers. Their civilization was ancient beyond measure, but they'd made one critical error. They'd built their existence on technology they'd inherited rather than fully understood. We became so focused on perfecting our transcendence that we forgot the fundamentals, Lisa admitted. Your species may be younger, but you understand the physical universe in ways we've lost. Alex told her about Earth, about humanity's slow crawl into space, about the simple satisfaction of fixing something broken and making it work again. He told her about the loneliness of deep space repair runs, the weeks between human contact, the way he'd started to prefer the company of machines to people. "You're not lonely," Lisa observed, those violet eyes studying him. "You're selective. You seek connection that matters." She was right, and that unsettled him. The repair grew more complex. Alex had to physically enter the resonator's quantum field, where reality became negotiable. Lisa linked their neural interfaces to guide him, and in that connection, he felt her presence completely, her fear for her people, her fierce determination, her curiosity about him. And something else, something that made his hands shake as he recalibrated the quantum harmonics. With 3 hours remaining, Alex identified the core problem, a microscopic fracture in the dimensional anchor, probably caused by collision with dark matter centuries ago. The crack had been growing exponentially. To fix it required a solution that combined Lisa's understanding of quantum mechanics with Alex's practical knowledge of molecular bonding. "It's theoretically possible," Lisa said, her consciousness intertwined with his in the neural link, "but it requires someone to maintain quantum coherence manually while the repair sets. The probability of survival is—" "Doesn't matter," Alex interrupted. 12 billion lives matter more." "One life also matters," Lisa countered. "Yours." "Then help me make it work." They descended into the quantum field together. Their consciousness merged in ways that made individual identity blur. Alex could feel Lisa's presence supporting him, her quantum-based mind stabilizing the probability waves, while his mechanically oriented consciousness held the physical repair in place. Time became meaningless. Seconds stretched into subjective hours. Alex felt himself dispersing across dimensional boundaries, his sense of self fragmenting. But Lisa was there, her presence a silver thread holding him together, refusing to let him dissolve into quantum foam. "Stay with me," she commanded, and her voice was an anchor in chaos. The repair sealed. Reality snapped back into focus. Alex found himself on the floor of the chamber, Lisa cradling his head in her lap. The resonator hummed with perfect harmony, its energy field stable and strong. Warning klaxons had ceased. The soft bioluminescence of the walls pulsed in what he somehow knew was relief. "You saved us," Lisa whispered, "all of us." "We saved you," Alex corrected, his voice hoarse. "Couldn't have done it without you." Lisa helped him to his feet. Around them, the chamber began to transform. Other Velshara materialized, members of her court, Alex realized, drawn from the pocket dimension now that the danger had passed. They regarded him with something like awe. "My people wish to honor you," Lisa said formally. "By our oldest laws, a debt of civilization must be repaid. Name any reward within our power to grant." Alex looked around at the impossible technology, the beings who existed between dimensions, the casual mastery of physics that would make Earth's scientists weep. He could ask for anything: technology, knowledge, wealth beyond measure. But he looked at Lisa, at the being who had shared consciousness with him in the quantum field, who had seen every part of who he was and hadn't turned away. "I'd like to stay," he said simply. "If you'll have me, there's more here I could learn, ways I could help. And," he hesitated, then continued, "I'd like to know you better, outside of a crisis situation." Lisa's luminescent patterns flared brighter, and Alex realized he'd just seen a Velshara blush. By our laws, one who saves our civilization may claim any position in our society, Lisa said, and there was something playful in her tone now. But you should understand what you're asking. To stay here, to work with our technology, to know me better. The Velshara form bonds that transcend physical dimension. What begins cannot easily be undone. I fixed a quantum dimensional anchor while scattered across probability space, Alex replied with a slight smile. I think I can handle complicated. Lisa stepped closer, her hand reaching out to touch his face. Where her fingers made contact, Alex felt the neural interface activate, a willing connection this time, gentle and exploratory. Welcome home, her thoughts whispered to his, my chosen. 3 months later, Alex sat in a biomechanical workshop that had reshaped itself to his preferences, surrounded by the elegant fusion of Velshara quantum technology and human mechanical intuition. He'd been teaching Lisa's engineers the fundamentals of practical repair while they taught him to think in quantum probabilities. His wanderer sat in the docking bay, upgraded with Velshara technology, but kept ready, a reminder that he'd come here by choice and stayed by choice. Lisa materialized behind him, her physical form coalescing from quantum possibility. Even after months, it was still beautiful to watch. The council has approved your latest proposal, she said, sliding her arms around him in a gesture she'd learned from human databases, but perfected through their neural bond. 20 deep space repair stations equipped with hybrid technology. Your people will have support across this entire sector. Our people, Alex corrected gently. Our people, Lisa agreed, and in the neural connection they shared, Alex felt her complete contentment. He'd come to fix a device. He'd stayed for something he never expected to find in the vast emptiness of space, a place where he belonged, work that mattered, and love that transcended dimension itself. Sometimes the best repairs, he'd learned, were the ones you never knew were broken, including yourself.